Thank you for coming here today. As you know, we represent Mr. Riley and Mr. Schilling pertaining to events that occurred on December 9th, 2017 at the Garage Door Saloon in Oakland. My clients were at that facility. They had one drink and then were immediately assaulted by the owner of the bar. As they were trying to leave the bar, they were forcefully thrown out. Mr. Riley was kneed in the groin and then kicked out the door. Mr. Schilling was thrown to the ground and taken outside. Mr. Riley went to get local police officers to help stop the situation. When he came back to the bar with one of the local police officers, Officer Rosfeld had arrived on the scene. Officer Rosfeld immediately told my clients that they were under arrest and that they were going to go to jail. My clients asked him to review any tape, surveillance tape or otherwise, within the saloon, and they would find that what the police were being told was not true at all. Officer Rosfeld said he reviewed the tape, that there was sufficient evidence to charge them. They had 5 charges put against them. They were taken to a detention center and then had to spend the night in jail. On December 21st, a preliminary hearing was scheduled, and at the preliminary hearing, all charges were dropped. It is our belief that the videotape showed exactly what my clients said, which is that they did nothing wrong whatsoever, that they should not have been charged with anything, and they now have a criminal record based upon this event. They've had to separately hire criminal defense lawyers to have their record changed or expunged, and they're currently in the process of doing that. This event should not have taken place. Because of it, Officer Rosfeld was let go from the police department, and my clients had to suffer due to his actions on that night when they did nothing wrong. With that, I'd be happy to take any questions.
You said that the owner just out of the blue kicked them out? I mean, was there no provocation at all? Seems unlikely.
We are not aware of any provocation. We have heard about some incidents in the past with this owner becoming aggressive with patrons, but both of my clients deny that they did anything improper that night. They also were not at the facility very long before the situation took place. I don't know why the owner, in fact, acted this way, but it was pretty clear afterwards that there was nothing criminal in nature other than the actions that took place on my clients.
Had your clients ever had any interaction with this owner before?
No.
Have they ever been in that establishment before?
I think they both have been there before, yes. Without provocation or out incident, yes.
Does the video still exist?
We believe the video is with the district attorney's office as we speak, and we'd anticipate the university providing it to us here very shortly.
So you're requesting it?
We will be requesting the video. We will be requesting the opportunity to sit down with the university to discuss this matter, and we'll be asking about their procedures and protocols towards training police officers on the force.
Was the officer's use of force appropriate during this arrest?
It was non-appropriate use of force because they should not have been arrested. They both were handcuffed. They both were put up against the wall. They both were escorted in a police car to a detention center and then spent the night in jail for something they did not do, which is why the district attorney immediately dropped all charges at the preliminary hearing. You have to understand that police do not normally drop criminal charges unless they're unfounded in nature. Unfortunately, we have also been contacted by other citizens who have had similar situations with Officer Rosfeld in particular, where charges have in fact been dropped.
What are those situations?
We've been contacted by numerous individuals who've been charged with a variety of crimes, and yet the preliminary hearing, the charges were dropped.
Are you representing any of those people?
We are currently investigating those and anticipate representing more in the near future.
How long have you been representing these two?
I don't recall the exact time of when they hired our law firm, but when we are confronted with allegations against law enforcement, we look into all of those allegations very seriously. We want to make sure that what we are being told is in fact accurate. I understand that when someone is arrested, there is potential for other issues to take place, and so we want to make sure what we're being told is accurate. Unfortunately, I think there are several episodes where charges that have been placed against citizens were improper, and that's why there have been multiple individuals that have had the charges dropped.
You've been representing them before the Antoine Rose incident?
Yes, we did.
Okay.
Yes.
These other incidents, did they involve, was Officer Rosfeld acting in his capacity as a University of Pittsburgh officer or for the other municipalities that he has worked for in the past?
The one that I am thinking of as I sit here is when he was with the University of Pittsburgh.
Any involved assaults of anybody?
We have been contacted about an assault that we are trying to verify all of the events.
And you don't allege an assault in this case?
In this particular case, the charges would be a battery, which would be an improper handling of someone without cause. And that is what is alleged in this lawsuit.
Were you the only ones there that night? Did they have any friends with them? Was it just them?
There were, I believe, 4 or 5 of them in total that night. We represent these 2 gentlemen.
Why are you filing this lawsuit now after Officer Rosfeld was involved in a fatal shooting and not earlier?
We were investigating the matters as indicated to you earlier to make sure they were in fact accurate. We've represented them and were in the process of filing the suit when the unfortunate situation with Mr. Rose took place.
What's the charge against the owner of the bar, or the allegation against the owner of the bar?
The allegation against the owner of the bar is battery, which is an unlawful touching of someone. In addition, a unlawful imprisonment and false arrest by providing information that turned out not to be accurate.
In Officer Rosefeld's account, he said that your clients were involved with a bar fight, and that this precipitated this, and that that they assaulted or got in a fight with the owner and an employee.
My clients disagree with that statement, and I think as further proof of that, all charges were dropped. If in fact they were in a bar fight and assaulting employees or other patrons, I do not believe the district attorney would in fact have dropped all charges against them.
So what's the remedy here? Are you looking for financial damages?
The remedy is twofold. Number one, from the civil side in which we represent them, we have made a claim against the bar and against the University of Pittsburgh Police, the officer and the chief of police. The other remedy available to them, which is what they've had to undertake, is retaining private criminal counsel to have their records expunged so that this arrest will be taken off of the record, and that's another cost that they have to bear that's not being bared by the city or the officers who are involved in the situation.
I mean, after this, Pitt did an internal investigation. Apparently he resigned during this investigation. Did they not act appropriately given this incident?
The University of Pittsburgh police have an obligation to monitor and to train all of their officers appropriately to make sure they do not fabricate any type of report or evidence. It is our understanding that after the preliminary charges in this particular case were dropped, Officer Rosfeld resigned within a week or 2 thereafter.
There were 5 people involved in this incident, these 2 gentlemen and then 3 friends that they were in?
I believe there were 4 or 5.
4 or 5.
Yes.
And were these the only 2 who were actually arrested and taken to jail that evening?
There was another individual who was also taken to jail that evening.
He's not part of this suit, and do you want to say why that is? Do you know why that is?
We do not represent him.
Okay.
He's alleged to have kicked in the door.
There was one individual that the allegation was kicking a door. It is not either my clients, and that allegation of kicking in a door occurred afterwards, after my clients, I believe, were handcuffed and put up against the wall.
Is it true? Was it a door that was kicked
I
in?
do not know because I don't represent anyone that kicked in a door.
Do you expect to call in these other friends as witnesses? Will they be witnesses to this on your client's behalf?
There are a variety of witnesses that could be called. Obviously, anyone at the bar that night, anyone that witnessed the conduct. I also would anticipate receiving more phone calls from others that I've had contact with Officer Rosfeld in the past in unrelated situations regarding his conduct. That all is relevant towards the training that Officer Rosfeld received or did not receive while at the University of Pittsburgh, because the training or lack thereof, the lack of supervision is clearly part of the claim that we're bringing. And ultimately what my clients are hoping to do is to help prevent anyone else from being in a similar situation. They don't want someone else to spend a night in jail when they did nothing wrong, and they're hoping that to the extent officers need retrained or new procedures be put in place, that could in fact be done.
You're seeking damages on behalf of your clients. Is it required that you state a figure, or you address that aspect?
Pennsylvania law does not allow you to ask for a particular dollar amount. What we've asked is for a judge or jury to decide this matter. In the event damages are awarded, it would be up to the judge, or in this case we've asked for a jury to decide what in fact is the appropriate amount. But again, I want to stress to you, besides the fact that they spent the night in jail and they've had to hire private criminal counsel, their goal is to make sure that others don't go through improper procedures by the police. And if they can do that and help by causing or enhancing new training and methods take place, they would consider that a satisfactory result on their end.
How many of the past allegations of unfounded arrests or similar allegations have you received from other people?
We've been contacted by multiple individuals. I don't have an exact amount of the individuals. I also want to verify what we're being told is accurate. Again, as I stated earlier, I understand that when law enforcement is involved, there's potential what I may be being told isn't always represented, and so we try to verify all those facts before moving forward. What I can tell you, though, is that I do believe there are, again, multiple individuals that have been detained or have had a situation, Officer Rosfeld, where charges have been dropped at the preliminary hearing.
Are you talking like 5 or like 50?
I will tell you there are more than 5 individuals involved.
So there may be more civil suits to come.
That is a distinct possibility, yes.
When you say 5 individuals, at least more than 5 individuals, are you talking about more than 5 incidents? Each of them have separate incidents, or some of these involving one or more individuals in a single?
There would be separate incidents involved with Officer Rosfeld with unrelated individuals or unrelated incidents.
More than like a half dozen incidents.
Yes.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Can you tell us who's Jacob and who's Tim?
Jacob?
You're Jacob.
This is
Okay.
Tim.
Tim.